And if you like fun, you like exciting, Alabama's got one of the most exciting players in all of college basketball. Collin Sexton is must-see, an outstanding freshman for the Christmas Tide. I saw Richard Pitino before the game. He had just the golf shirt on. Made the adjustment to the pullover.
Yeah, he pulled it over top the golf shirt.
He was cold.
A little cash.
Flat out told me he was cold.
Avery Johnson going with the short sleeves. There is an ice hockey rink underneath here as Collin Sexton knocks that down. Of course, the Island
Outs are drooling over the potential that he has.
Oh, another block from Lynch. Coffey lost the handle a bit, may have carried it, but they don't call it. Washington out of Harlem, and the freshman scores at home, and he's got a big contingent right behind us.
It's Murphy, Coffey, Mason. Breyer's a guy who can go out there and get buckets, and then you bring Washington in as that spark plug off the bench.
5 turnovers in the first 4.5 minutes for Alabama. Again, the friendly hometown bounce for the freshman Isaiah Washington. Coffey, one-on-one, spin move, can't get it to go. Avery Johnson Jr. out of there with it. And he lost it. Washington's got it ahead of the pack. Isaiah Washington has 6, and he might have 6,000 fans in attendance.
We talk about that sweet finger roll, the jelly, and his eyes were as big as basketballs. But this is a kid who is a playground legend here in New York. And watch the spin.
That's the little jelly off the glass. A little spin on the finger roll from Isaiah Washington. 21-7 Minnesota on a big football day for both of these two programs with a 2-touchdown lead over Alabama, Kristen. It's been all Wisconsin in the game of the Twin Cities, 17-0 Wisconsin. Alabama now has a lead on Auburn, 14-10 in the third. Down by 12. Michael Hurt in the game for Minnesota. Washington tries to split the double team and turns it over. Here comes Sexton. Gets around Kanade. Sexton all the way. The finger roll.
He has such a tremendous, be lazy, and for young guys, easier said than done.
Look at the spin. Murphy couldn't get it to go. He was 5 for 6 before that miss. Sexton the pass. Ingram the flush.
We talked about getting back in transition if you're a gopher.
That's amazing.
Spent 2 years playing for the Redbirds.
5 on the shot clock. Washington one-on-one with Sexton, the step back. Oh, they called him for the travel there. He doesn't like the call. I'm a bit surprised they called it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Skip to my Lou, Rafer Alston, and he always had these creative moves. Watch his footwork.
Look, it is a travel in college.
That's not a travel.
It's a travel in college. It's not a travel in the NBA.
I remember them, they used to call that on, I call him Skip, Rafer Alston all the time. He was so creative with the basketball. I think sometimes he would fool the referees.
That's good position. That's the best position I've seen an Alabama big man have all game long. Dante Hall.
The officials, I think he's frustrated. Alabama's frustrated. But still, not out of the woods yet. Down 17, and when you're shooting only 29% from the field, 7 of 24, against a team that's going to be in the top 10 if they win this game. You got to see if you can close this gap somehow, some way. If you can get this to 10 at halftime, give yourself a chance.
Alabama averaging 84 points a game this season. Here comes Sexton. The freshman lays it in. 15-point game, 3 minutes to go.
You know, when I would be in timeouts, I'd love when the coach would say, hey, we're down right now, which was often at Northwestern. Let's try to close it. Watch Sexton. See, everything's going left.
That's the only success he's had is go left and look for Dante Hall. That's the second time we've seen that inside.
Well, I think that's going to be the recipe for Avery Johnson. Keep getting him in that pick and roll situation. Let him go out there and make a play. So talented, Sexton. Great pass there.
Mason, the dish, Murphy, bodies in, gets it blocked from behind, but he just keeps coming. Misses one, no problem. I'll get it back and I'll score it the second time.
He has 19 points and 11 rebounds.
Ingram nearly walked.
This is not a video game, folks. This is real life. This is college basketball. It's two top 25 teams, and Jordan Murphy's just dominating. I can give you a little bit of everything, and he has just done that for the Gophers. And as for Alabama, they got back in the game when Collin Sexton really started to work a little bit from the offensive end, got his teammates involved. Here, an opportunistic basket. Two Gophers run into each other. You know, Alabama, in my eyes, Chris, they could be down 20. The fact that it's 12,
agreed.
You come out, you set a tone, maybe get the first couple of baskets, and now you're right back in it. Avery Johnson's been around the block. They did not play their best basketball, and still within striking distance.
What a start to the second half for the Golden Gophers. Ingram was a little off balance, but he was able to find Collin Sexton, who finds the range. First three-pointer of the game for Sexton. See the defensive intensity ratcheting up a little bit now. Mason for three after he shook a dude. Ingram in no man's land. Petty inside, the dish to Galen, and Galen Smith will go to the free throw line for two.
Well, nothing is better than when you're in New York City and you're able to shake somebody. Watch Nate Mason here, and then he looks at him.
Oh, yeah. That was Sexton.
Oh, boy. Oh, baby. That's somewhere when you go up to Harlem, you go up to New York City, you get on the playgrounds here in Brooklyn, and you're able to shake somebody like that. That's the type of stuff people remember, and they want to go out there and see you play. Here, watch Sexton get tied up. He looks at him. That is filthy.
And you know these players are aware of the crowd here witnessing this game. You can tell some of these folks sitting behind us love this style of basketball.
This guy with the ball, freshman from Harlem, is as exciting as it gets. Nate Mason says, hey, I could be exciting too.
Oh, Mason is shimmying and shaking and everything in between, and a little bit too much of it.
Watch Sexton, his feet get tied up right there, and then Mason, watch.
Oh, we got a technical foul, I believe, a double technical going on Mason and Sexton. Uh-oh. A lot of talking, and Mason better be careful or else he's going to get another one. Richard Pitino wants a timeout. Mason is real juiced up by this crowd over here, and I believe as well someone just got tossed.
And Nate Mason just got tossed here. Richard Pitino's irate. The referees are trying to get control of this game. Nate Mason started talking to the Alabama bench. And Richard Pitino's
another one. This game is getting real interesting. Two technicals on Nate Mason, he's gone, and Richard Pitino picks up a technical foul of his own.
I was blocked from the first technical. Nate Mason, we just showed him eyeing down Sexton. This is the first one. Now, Collin Sexton's supposed to be a lottery pick. Nate Mason is a guy, and you said this before, Chris, maybe doesn't get the respect on a national level. Even on this team, you talk about Murphy and you talk about Lynch, and then finally you get to Nate Mason. He's having a big half. He starts talking to Collin Sexton. There's the original tee. And then I watched kind of him go back to the bench a little bit before this, and he was jawing at Alabama, jawing at their coaches. He gets the second tee, and then you see Richard Pitino just fly off the handle. Oh boy, you got a double-digit lead, you're cruising, you're playing outstanding basketball. As a senior, Nate Mason, he's got to be smarter than that.
And there's Rick Pitino, not liking what he's seeing right now from Minnesota. His son's team.
Minnesota number 2, Nate Mason. That's his third, team sixth, and Mason is ejected from the game.
The announcement now that Mason's been ejected from the game, and the fans don't like it. Going to be a bunch of free throws now for Collin Sexton.
Oh, write the score down.
57-44, buddy boy.
Let's see how this changes the complexion of the game.
What happened? We had the shimmy from Nate Mason. Sexton hit the deck. Mason hit the shot. Next time down, better defense from Alabama. Mason was trying to do something. He turned it over, so Sexton probably said, hey, I got you that time. Double technical. And then the problem is Mason just kept going. Mason just kept going at the freshman Sexton from afar. And we saw the officials. Brian O'Connell was looking and just waiting. And if he kept it going, which he did, he was going to tee him up a second time.
I don't think the officials were right on top of it. Nate Mason crossed the line. You got to see he's got to be smarter than that. Now he's gone, and now you can see the momentum potentially swing in this game. Kristen, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I just saw Nate Mason walk off, and you could tell that he is very upset. A couple of fans had their hands out trying to encourage him, and he just went straight back, guys. I'm also seeing some comments, and there people are saying, Mason is a senior. He should know better than that. You got to keep your cool, is what a lot of people are saying on Facebook right now.
3 out of 4 from Collin Sexton. Remember, had everything just stopped at the double technical, there would have been no free throws. 2 free throws came from the second technical dribble. Sexton's got it. You know he's going to want to make something happen. One of the best freshmen in the country. Double team. Finds the senior, Riley Norris. It's a 7-point game. And we've got fisticuffs. A scuffle underneath, and players ready to throw. We have madness at the Barclays Center Classic between Alabama and Minnesota. Amir Coffey is being ushered off the court. I think what we have here, Tim Doyle, is these young players getting a little too caught up in the fans courtside watching this game and wanting a little too much playground action. That's my take.
You could feel the hostility in the building right now, and you can see Norris bury the 3 here, and watch underneath.
That's Dazon Ingram tangled up with, looks like Dupree McBrayer. Hard to catch the numbers from that wide shot.
We saw some Alabama players step on the floor. That's an immediate technical.
Oh, well, the entire team is out there on the court. Every single player without warm-ups on is on the court for Alabama.
That's going to be a messy situation for officials. You know, we've seen this at the NBA level. You step on the floor, you're gone. Let's watch that bench reaction. I mean, there's Hall.
Dante Hall's out there. Avery Johnson Jr.'s out there, but he's trying to hold players back.
But your point before about getting caught up. You know, I grew up in New York City, and this may be hard for you to understand if you're in Minnesota or in Alabama. You go out to the playgrounds, you get that crowd in there. It's so hard to explain. A guy like Nate Mason, he got caught up in the moment. He's gone. 2 technicals. Richard Pitino, you see him getting caught up. And now it's starting to overflow onto the players. The crowd is heavily involved in this game. These are two top 25 teams. This is the best game in college basketball in all the land right now. And both these teams obviously really want it, but it's hard to explain when you're in New York, tensions are running high, meaningful game. It all started with Nate Mason and Collin Sexton, and now it's overflowed to everybody else on the court.
Dazon Ingram got into it with Dupree McBrayer, and then John Petty, the freshman, came over, and he looked like he was ready to throw with McBrayer. Now, I'm not sure there was ever any swing out there, and that would be important. That doesn't mean that multiple players aren't going to be given a technical or ejected in this game. But I haven't seen anything on replay that shows anybody swinging.
You know, the comments are coming across right now on Facebook. It's going to be interesting what they do as Daryl and Wade and Ryan all chiming in right now. What are they going to do with the Bama bench? And you step off on the floor. They're celebrating. And you got walk-ons. You watch Hall. You can't be on the court like that and leave the bench. Hall leaves the bench. I mean, he's inside the three-point line right now.
It was close down there. There were a couple guys that had the hands up and were flinging. I don't know if you could call anything a punch.
You can't leave the bench, though, Chris.
Right. That's a whole nother issue. And that's why this officiating crew of Rick Crawford, Brian O'Connell, and Brett Smith have a lot to sort out. Remember, already 2 technicals on Nate Mason. He's ejected. Already 1 technical on Richard Pitino. In a game that's all of a sudden close, that Minnesota has controlled throughout. Led by as many as 18 points in this game. The referees are now looking for this shot, which we're showing you, of the Alabama bench. And we have several players starting to run out. Dante Hall is one of them. Avery Johnson is out on the floor, but he's holding everybody back, Avery Johnson Jr. After that, though, when things started to escalate a little bit more, then more players come off the bench. They all came off the bench at one point, like right here. And so there's going to be a lot of technical fouls handed out. We just had Collin Sexton take 4 consecutive technical foul free throws.
Well, I would expect someone on Minnesota is going to be shooting a lot of free throws right now. I think the Alabama coaching staff should have done a better job of getting out in front of their guys there, preventing them from running on the floor. I wouldn't be surprised to see 6, 8, 10 free throws shot right here from Minnesota. And as a player, I played in the Big East, I played in the Big Ten, but you know you cannot leave the bench. But this playground-like atmosphere that's been created here has been awesome with the fans getting involved, but the players on the court, the players off the court got caught up in the emotion. This is not a playground game. This is 2 teams in the top 25 trying to go out and get a win that's going to resonate in March, and just utter chaos broke out. And I think it even surprised the Alabama coaching staff because they did a poor job of getting to their players, preventing them from getting on the floor. Security ran on the floor. And I've been a part of a lot of games at the college level as a broadcaster playing, and I've never seen anything like that.
It's Rick Crawford speaking with Richard Pitino, who doesn't seem too upset. Brian O'Connell and Brett Smith are speaking with Avery Johnson. And we'll get an explanation from these officials in just a moment. But Minnesota is jumping around now. They're all fired up over there on the bench. I think they may have gotten word that they're going to benefit from this. And again, we're going to get an explanation, and we're going to pass it along to you. And the officials will come over and let us know what has been decided, what has been sorted out. Avery Johnson, Richard Pitino with the 3 officials near midcourt meeting right now. If you're just joining us, Minnesota's got a 7-point lead. The lead was 13 moments ago when Nate Mason got teed up twice, ejected. Richard Pitino got teed up. Collin Sexton hit 3 of 4 free throws, and then Riley Norris hit a 3. 7-point game, and now the explanation from one of the officials as several players have been ejected from this game for Alabama. The entire bench from Alabama has been ejected from this game for entering the playing court. The bench is empty. Just assistants. And now the 5 on the court for Alabama are the 5 who have to go the rest of the way. Minnesota's entire bench is intact. Washington lays it in, and Minnesota's up 9. Rebound to Smith. Still a lot of time left as Sexton scores. It's still a 9-point game.
A lot of people are saying, you know, they've never seen anything like this.
In Minnesota, all they're doing is taking threes. Take a snapshot of this, folks. You may never see it again. A 3-on-5 major college basketball game between 2 ranked teams. 2 teams that were undefeated entering the game. Sexton able to get it to go. It's a 10-point game. Let's see what Richard Pitino decides to do. He has been okay with them shooting threes. Washington takes a deuce. 4th and final game of this Barclays Center Classic. Coffee scores. Stick around if you're just joining us here on Facebook. We'll bring all of it to you. And Alabama forced to play the rest of the game with 3 players. Now Minnesota's just turning up the defense. They can take every chance they want. Sexton to the hoop. That wasn't 3-on-5. That was 1-on-5 situation. They finished it off. They carry you, so you carry them the rest of the season. Maybe they can use this as a positive, but certainly this is going to be tough to talk about as Sexton hits the 3.
Collin Sexton, one of the best players in all college basketball. 18 points and 12 rebounds at the half. He hasn't done anything in the second half.
There's the Harlem kid, Isaiah Washington. He's had a big game himself. Had a big stretch there in the first half to help Minnesota lead by as many as 19. Sexton's got it back. Triple team. Norris picks up the dribble. 8 on the shot clock. Sexton's going to try to make something happen. Shoots it and hits! It's a 3! This is amazing. And now the Gophers going to work the clock down a little bit. Let's see. Richard Pitino's been okay with his players just pulling up, taking threes, taking long 2s because they're all open. Alabama just has to pack it in with that triangle. Washington hits the jumper. Collin Sexton totally gassed. He has 33 points in this game on 10 of 18 shooting. Sexton for 3. Got it! What an amazing performance from the freshman Collin Sexton out of Mableton, Georgia. 36 points for Collin Sexton. 2 minutes to play in this game. Alabama's outscoring Minnesota 24-16 with 3 players. Sexton the rebound, here he comes. Sexton Sexton himself got it! It's a one-possession game! This place is up for grabs. Sexton the rebound! Missed the shot with 1:15 to play. That would have cut it to 1. Coffee and the foul.
Let's go.
1:05 to play. Minnesota with an 86-80 lead on Alabama. A matchup of two unbeaten teams here at the Barclays Center Classic, presented by Progressive Tire. Continental Tire. Wow. It's been that kind of night. Sexton. Down 6, 3 on 5, dishes off, it's a dunk! And then John Petty injured himself, rolled his ankle. That's why they finished the game with 3. 0.8 left. And free throws coming.
Collin Sexton's going to be remembered for his heart of a lion in this game. He single-handedly kept Alabama in this ball game. He was getting oxygen on the bench. He was huffing and puffing.
Stadium is your new national news and sports network. We focus on the sports at Stadium, folks. The only 24/7 network available on both television and digital services without a cable subscription. 40 points for Collin Sexton, and he has his hands raised. The 3 players for Alabama are coming together at midcourt. Minnesota gets the 89-84 win, but in the end, everyone's going to be talking about what these 3 Alabama players did in the closing moments of this game to keep it a game. Down by double digits, playing 3 on 5. They came back, and Collin Sexton actually had a shot to cut it to 1. They had the ball down 3 in the final minute.
Yeah, he shot a pull-up jump shot there. I'm sure in hindsight, down 3, he would have liked to jacked up a 3-pointer just to see if he could tie this game. What a wild set of events. Emotions were high. The crowd was into the game. And this really started with Nate Mason and Collin Sexton going head-to-head. Mason are reigning all Big